welcome you back to the road to the Final Four here on CBS. Nighttime session in North Carolina, in Raleigh. It's Mount St. Mary's against the overall #1 seed in the tournament, the North Carolina Tar Heels, making their 2008 tournament debut. Hello, friends. Jim Nance, David Packer here courtside. Later tonight, Arkansas and Indiana will compete here. Well, Billy, let's talk about this team taking on the Tar Heels tonight. What do you see out of Mount St. Mary's?
1-16. Will it ever happen? Well, here we have Chris Vann, #2 scorer on this ball club. Outstanding handler of the ball. Averaging 14-5 a game. And Jeremy Good. Jim, how often do you think it is a young man grows up in North Carolina and like to play against the Tar Heels?
That's going to be the case tonight. Let's talk about Tyler Hansbrough and the rest of this North Carolina team.
Well, without question, he is the player of the year in college basketball, and Ty Lawson may be the biggest question mark in regard to their quest for the national championship. How will this angle play out tonight?
Mount St. Mary's, the Mount, already with a win in the tournament. They won that opening round game Tuesday in Dayton, knocking out Coppin State. There are the lineups as you see them. The Tar Heels at 32-2 on the season for the 12th time, a #1 seed. That's an all-time record. And this game is brought to you in HD TV by HP. Carolina in the home whites here in Raleigh. And what a history they have when they've had to compete in the NCAA tournament in their home state.
Well, they're only 21-1. Of course, that only loss here in the city of Raleigh, North Carolina. They've never lost in Greensboro, Winston-Salem, or Charlotte.
They lost back in 1979. The only time they've lost a tournament game. Of course, win 2 games here. Next week they would advance to Charlotte for the regionals. Here we go. A Tupum to jump it up against Thompson, and Mount St. Mary's will get the first handle. At 19-14 on the year. They won their last 6 games.
And Jim, I think that play-in game always helps the 16th seed. They've got a game under their belt. They've had success under their belt, but they are up against some real odds here tonight in North Carolina.
Stolen by Hansbrough to begin the game with a dunk.
I said it time and again, he may be the fastest big man in college basketball, and he can run with some guards and handle the ball. And there's that slippery middle. Did you see him almost go down, Jim?
We've already seen in the earlier action this afternoon some players slip on the big NCAA logo affixed to the floor here in Raleigh. This is for Mount St. Mary's as a program, the 3rd time in the NCAA tournament. Outside shot is short.
Pretty good defense by Ellington on Vann. And Thompson, a guy you want to get into the ball game early.
Home the 3 is Wayne Ellington.
Now the last thing you want to see is North Carolina get off to this kind of a start.
Blocked by Hansbrough. Off and running again, but Lawson giving it up at the end. Tipped in by Thompson. 7-0 North Carolina.
Jim, I think you want a timeout right here to get your club back under control. They are not going to be able to run with North Carolina like this. Got to play a much more patient game.
Hansbrough already with a couple of defensive gems.
Overplaying every pass. And Lawson looked pretty quick on that drive, didn't he, Jim?
Oh, it didn't look like any ankle issues at all.
Nope.
Thompson coming out high. Good loss to handle. Lawson touched it last. 7 seconds on the shot clock, and the Mountaineers will inbound in midcourt.
Jim, that's the first time I've seen Lawson lose himself within the game. The guy's injured. He's thinking about the injury. That's the first time I've seen him since he's come back, where he's just lost in the game emotionally, pushed the ball up the floor at full speed.
That's good. Blocked by Thompson. Got the shot away to beat the shot clock in the first points for the Mount.
Pretty nice timing for the young man from Charlotte.
Grew up a big North Carolina fan. Followed the Tar Heels.
Oh, between the legs goes Hansbrough.
Yeah, pretty nifty.
We're seeing all the things he shows you in practice, but doesn't in the game because he stays within the framework of the team.
Trying to drive, and he has it stolen. The Tupum stole it. This is good with the 3. And Hansbrough leaps high to pull down the rebound. Hansbrough just inside the arc.
He's fired up a little bit too much. You notice there was a little bit too much on that shot.
Lawson with a 3. Yes.
And obviously the crowd is here in favor of the Tar Heels. Nice play.
And a foul. That's Mitchell. Roy Williams 5th year at North Carolina, national title 2005.
And Jim going for what seems like an unbelievable record. 19 straight NCAA tournaments, but that's eclipsed by Lute Olson and Dean Smith with 23, but has never failed to win a game in the NCAA tournament. That's pretty impressive.
Pretty impressive. Mitchell with the three-point play. And the foul this time. It goes against Mount St. Mary's and Will Holland. And there's Milan Brown, the head coach of the Mountaineers, who has faced Roy Williams before in the NCAAs in the first round. He was a player at Howard University back in 1992 going against Roy's Kansas Jayhawks. Ginyard. And he is fouled. It might be the second on Holland. It is. Milan Brown. Yes, he has a history against Roy Williams. He was a junior when Howard faced Kansas.
Look at how young Roy looks at that point.
Yes. That's Coach Brown right there.
Didn't have a bad game. 15 points, 4 rebounds, 4 assists, 2 steals.
And our CBS Chevrolet player of the game for the Howard side.
The score was 100 to 67.
Yep.
And, you know, in that locker room, and to take nothing away from a young man who's had great success in his life in basketball, you're in that locker room saying, boys, they put their pants on just like we do. But the problem is the pants are a little bit bigger.
Yes, they are.
And I don't know if this is good strategy to try to take it right to the Tar Heels.
There is a huge size disparity here. All 5 Tar Heel starters have already scored. Up 11-5 in the first 3 minutes. Nice shot there by Van. And not this time for Ellington. That's Beidler with the rebound, who's wearing number 3. Here he goes up court. Called for the charge. That, for Mount St. Mary's fans, they may not recognize the number, but Beidler had his jersey stolen here on the NCAA road.
Well, he's got 4 jersey numbers in less than 3 jersey numbers in less than 2 games here. He started off with number 4, then went to 51. Now he's to 3.
Coming up, we'll get you to your game on time if you're expecting Siena Vanderbilt or Oregon against Mississippi State. Stevenson is in for North Carolina, number 32. Hansbrough.
Nice double down there.
Ginyard. Nice drive.
Ginyard made all-ACC tournament, known for his defensive prowess, but has become more offensive-minded of late. He guards any one of 4 position-type players and really shuts them off extremely well. Gets caught coming behind the screen.
Nice shot by Beidler, banging it home, the sophomore for Virginia Beach.
15 against Quinnipiac, 15 against Robert Morris, and 15 against Sacred Heart.
That's his number. 15 rebounds, too, in the game against Compton State on Tuesday.
So about 45 points off the bench in 3 games. Not bad. That's a triple team.
Hansbrough still able to get the basket. 3 players around him.
He's amazing how he can short arm those little 8 to 10 foot shots. It's not a hook shot. It's not a jump shot. It's just some kind of a little push. And it's a little bit better pace right here. Try to take a little air out of the ball, slow down North Carolina. Even though you're in the game at 15-10, the pace is all there.
Giving it up at the end, and that's a 2 from scoring. Good with the assist. So after a rough start, they gave up the first 7. The Mountain hanging in there, the Northeast Conference Tournament champions.
Well, they are taking it to them. Looking at, they're going to a 2-3 zone now. They've been playing man-to-man with a little matchup 2-3 zone. In that zone, they better keep their eye on Ellington.
Lawson. Ginyard keeps it alive for the Tar Heels with a fresh 35. Ellington, high arcing shot.
And one of the things Ellington has been doing of late is looking for that medium-range jump shot, not relying solely on the standstill jumper. Makes him tough to handle. And I'm not so sure Good can't put that ball on the floor as quickly as As Lawson, he is extremely quick with that basketball.
Here's that matchup. Goes inside, Mitchell. Back to a Tupum.
Push off by Stevenson, gets by. Right now, Lawson has his shoe untied, Jim. Laces. That's not a good thing for a guy with a bad ankle.
Yeah, his right shoe is untied.
There's that zone matching up out front. Two quick guards.
Hansbrough will be going to the line after the break. Already with a block, a steal, a rebound, and a couple of buckets. 2 free throws coming up after this first timeout. Jim Nance, Billy Packer here, and Raleigh. Aerial coverage of our game brought to you by DirecTV on this first full day of spring. Carter Finley Stadium abutting here. Our basketball arena. Got more action coming up for some of you. We'll be sending it out to Oregon, Mississippi State shortly. That football stadium is where Coach Milan Brown's brother Morocco was a linebacker for the Wolfpack. One more coming for Hansbrough. And there is a family history in the Brown family of some major upsets in this NCAA tournament. His younger brother Marseille had not one, but a taste of 2 significant upsets in the history of this tournament. He spoke to the team before the game. Brother Marseille played at Richmond, part of a big Richmond upset over South Carolina.
Well, he broke the heart of one Tar Heel, and it was Eddie Fogler, who was coaching South Carolina at the time.
And then he transferred to Hampton, part of that 15-over-2 when Hampton upset Iowa State out in Boise. And there's a foul on the back called against Mount St. Mary's.
Shauna Tupin right there wondering what's going on. He hasn't felt anybody control the ball as strong as Hansbrough just did. Well, he gets his hands on that ball in the low post, and it's all his.
Will Graves just checking in for Coach Roy Williams as Hansbrough gets a breather. Ellington also out. Danny Green has checked in. There's a little lob inbounds play to Graves.
I was just going to say, Graves is starting to get much more involved in the offense. He's an excellent shooter. You don't see him scoring much from the inside like that. A set out of bounds play, a little breakdown.
He has some serious range, Billy.
Yes, he does.
Talking about Graves. Go right up with it at midcourt, effortless. 3-point shot, doesn't drop. That was Holland taking it, Stevenson clearing.
Boy, there's a lot of power on the floor right now. Graves, Stevenson, Green.
And the 3 somehow spins out. Quentin Thomas also on the floor for the Tar Heels. Holland
got by with a walk in that play. Tough shot.
Stevenson getting some aggressive action on the boards.
You can see what Roy Williams is going to do. He's going to put in new, fresh bodies and make things really tough from a stamina standpoint.
Right back to Stevenson. Carolina dominating inside and proving it once again.
A lot of fresh, big bodies out there right now, Jim.
Largest lead now for the Tar Heels at 10. And Carolina defensively just shutting that down for Beidler.
They're going to be playing volleyball at both ends of the floor with this lineup. Back to the man-to-man. Green awful quick.
Holland picks up his 3rd.
Coach Brown saying, hey, let's call it the same way at both ends.
10-point Tar Heel lead. North Carolina scored the last 7. They're just owning the rebounding stats. Figure 2 coming into this one. Watch this one, Billy.
Well, Jimmy, you've got to be able to see your man and the ball. Take a look at what happens. There is the lob right on the inside, but look at the little eye contact right here.
Brilliant.
Hey, guess what, boys? It's coming my way. Very nice.
Thomas feeding Graves. And they've got their biggest lead of the night at 10. It's Danny Green with a 3.
Boy, he's had 2 in and out.
Yeah, 1 really spinning out. Worse than that one. And from Thomas.
Jim, one thing is obvious to me immediately, and that is that Roy Williams, since the ACC tournament, has not practiced hard.
You can tell in the legs.
No question about it. You can tell that this team is as fresh, having played 3 rough games in Charlotte just a week ago. But you can tell they've had a nice time off.
Good shot by Kaju.
It's really funny, isn't it? In an NCAA tournament, some teams seem to have fresh legs. Others seem to be whipped at this time of year.
Thompson turnaround. He's been struggling with his shot. Green throws it all the way out for the save to Thomas.
Seem to be getting every loose ball.
And that'll send Thompson to the line for a pair. They've had now 9 missed shots, talking about North Carolina, and 7 of the 9 misses they've rebounded.
Well, one of the reasons, obviously, is they're a much bigger team and stronger. The second is, however, with fresh legs, they're getting to all the loose balls.
Timeout called Mount St. Mary's. Tournament summary in Tampa. The Toreros take out UConn, first Big East team to lose in this year's tournament. And Western Kentucky won it in a thriller with 30 made threes, an NCAA tournament record combined. Jim Nance, Billy Packer on the scene here in Raleigh. Thompson to shoot 2.
Jim, I don't know how that stat had slipped by me all these years. I didn't realize that was Jim Calhoun's first loss in an opening round. You remember Raleigh Massimino had those great runs at Villanova. But quite a record Jim Calhoun had, and his club was coming out at the end of the year. I'm sure that's a surprising loss to him as well.
That's a 13 beating of 4. Good in the paint. Go back out with it. Van. Green trying to get it inside, and out with it is good. Rolls off the rim, though. It's going to be a reach in on North Carolina. Just the second whistle against the Tar Heels. 7 fouls called against the Mount. 21 miles from the Dean Dome to this arena. And in total, if you will, 25 is what the official mileage is.
And Jim,
to Raleigh, which is beyond here, east of here.
How important was that Atlantic Coast Conference tournament for North Carolina? You know, Duke, at that point, about 10 days before the end of the season, may have been the one that got the Raleigh-Charlotte matchup. North Carolina playing not only close to home this week, but if they were to win, they go to Charlotte, which is a short bus ride away. About 2 hours.
Ginyard with his second foul. Well, that's a pretty good combination of your North Carolina.
Yep.
Span. Fade away. Good shot.
Great shot. In traffic.
Lawson quickly up the floor. And push-off call against Jeremy Good. Yeah, this recent win streak, Mount St. Mary's was 13 and 14, Billy, several weeks back. So they have this 6-game win streak, and
9 out of their last 10.
A lot of folks say it's because he let Jeremy Good, kind of open things up a little bit out there on the floor.
Well, they pushed the ball up the floor extremely well tonight, and you don't get the feeling they can win this game, but I'll tell you what, they're only 10 down right now, playing in effect a game that North Carolina would love for them to play, which is to push this ball up and down the floor. North Carolina, a team that is second in the nation in scoring at 88.7 a game, number 1 in the ACC.
And even ahead of their season scoring pace right now, halfway through this first half.
Yeah, if you're playing a favorite team and it's a team that likes to score close to 90, you'd think that your best chance is to try to keep it into a 60-point game. Mount St. Mary only averages 69 a game themselves, which was 8th in their league.
Tough shot, man.
Oh,
another one. That's a 2. He's hit 2 in a row.
He looks over at his crowd and said, oh, yeah, I can do it again.
How good does that feel against North Carolina?
Absolutely.
Hands broke. Trying to find baseline. That's shut down. Doubled up. Still gets the shot off. Thompson hacked. It'll go back to the line for a pair. Take CBS Sports with you wherever you go. Get live score, stats, and even manage your fantasy team. Text SCORE to 99888 or go to mobile.cbssports.com. 2 shots for Thompson.
Jim, North Carolina, #1 rebounding team in the nation with 11.4 more than their opponents. Mount St. Mary's was eighth in their league with a minus 1.3 rebounds compared to their opponents. So if there's any area in this game at all that favors North Carolina, it's on the boards, and they're taking advantage of it. You double down on Hansbrough, and that leaves Thompson wide open on the weak side for an offensive putback as he had there.
29-19 North Carolina.
Nice
good touch pass, leads to 2 by Atukam. That was Mitchell with the touch pass.
Beautiful touch pass.
And Lawson fadeaway, answers right back.
He's trying to show
he makes a steal on the inbounds, and the foul on Atukam. Too casual on the inbounds pass just after Lawson had scored. Dominating inside.
Okay, this pace is even quick for North Carolina. But a real good sign for this young man right here. It was critical if they're going to make a march for the national championship. This is as quick as I've seen Lawson prior to getting hurt.
I mean, he looks full speed.
Yeah.
Hansbrough back to the bench. Stevenson in for him.
I think Hansbrough took a little shot there because he's not going to want to come out of too many games. Roy Williams talking to him down on that sideline.
4 quick ones for Lawson. Basket, steal, 2 free throws. Just after the Mount had knocked it down to 8. Kaju. He's already hit 1 from out there, but not this time. Ellington.
Look at his speed.
Got Gidner coming in on the wing. Follow-up Stevenson. North Carolina just running wild.
They give Mount St. Mary's credit. In their mind, they can run with them. I think it's bad strategy, but you got to give them credit for their effort.
There's a foul outside. Coming up, AT&T at the half. Greg, Clark, and Seth. Live look-ins coming up, and they'll get you caught up on all the latest tournament news, plus an AT&T Naismith watch update, all coming up on AT&T at the half. So Hansbrough comes back in. Roy got a chance to counsel him for a second. Outside jumper drops for Mitchell. Marcus Mitchell. Coach calls him the Rock for the Mount.
Well, they made that really nice touch pass. Possession or so ago, and then hits the jumper.
Inside to go. Hansbrough doubled up and again squeezes it through.
He will muscle that shot against just.
So North Carolina.
They say it's impossible for an underdog to go the distance. Then again, they said it's impossible to get real Coke taste and 0 calories. Log on to mycokerewards.com. Get lots of great NCAA gear. Plus 14 rebounding advantage for North Carolina.
Well, as I said, they're the #1 rebounding club in the United States at a plus 11-4. Mount St. Mary doing an incredible job staying in this ball game, and they were 8th in their own league in rebounding. So quite a differential there. Good playing with a lot of moxie out here, isn't he?
He really is. That long-range 3 really defined his night. Blocked by Hansbrough. Right back to the Mount. Loose ball. Hansbrough has it. All kinds of contact. Finally a whistle. And a foul's going to be called on Good.
Doesn't mind going down on the floor for a loose ball, does he?
Got a little cut, too.
Greg Gumbel in New York with an update for you on Siena and Vanderbilt. Siena have been pretty much in attack mode since the opening tip. Kenny Hansbrough with the shot here. Siena leading at 31-20, just over 7 minutes to play in the first half.
All right, Jim Nance and Billy Packer here in Raleigh. Mount St. Mary's, when you think of the Mount, you got to think back to the great Jim Phelan. 49 seasons there in Emmitsburg, Maryland. 830 wins. Won the Division II national title back in 1962. Always wore that bow tie to the games and still comes by the practices, Billy, with his grandchildren.
24-5 in 1962. And one of the guys I grew up with, Eddie Pfeiffer from Bethlehem, Pennsylvania, played at Allentown Central Catholic on that fine team. John O'Reilly, star player, college division national champions.
Milan Brown said, Coach Phelan is to me what Dean is to Roy.
Great statement.
Yes, it is. Turnover. And if we had her here earlier on the floor, Georgetown and UMBC late in the afternoon, you saw, obviously not until the second half, but Georgetown, you felt like in the second half of that game, started to go by some strategy that would serve them well on Sunday as the turnaround shot falls for Deion Thompson. North Carolina is going to have an interesting matchup on Sunday afternoon against either Indiana or Arkansas. Two teams that are quite strong for 8-9 seeds.
Yeah, very athletic clubs as well. And if the Indiana team is the team that started the season 17-1, that would really be a tough matchup for North Carolina.
Meidler has the three. Ellington fouled outside before the shot by Van. Mount St. Mary's has been in the tournament 2 other times. There's Coach Phelan. They were a 16 seed in '99. Michigan State. Here's the Michigan State game. Lost by 23. They were 16 seed. To Kentucky also, and they got walloped in that one. But, you know, one thing about their opening round game against Coppin State on Tuesday night, it gave them their first NCAA tournament win.
Exactly. You know, as a matter of fact, if I was a team down in that possibility of getting into in that opening game, I'd want to be in that game with an opportunity to say, hey, we won one in the NCAA tournament. To be quite honest with you, I think it helps you prepare for this particular game. You know you're going to be a 16 seed in either case. Why not play, win a game, get a game under your belt, let your players get some more confidence and get in the flow of an NCAA tournament. I don't think there's anything wrong with it at all.
54-36. Gouju.
Oh,
nice play.
Among the trees, we've had Van, and now Gouju make shots down inside in the paint. Zone packing in now.
It's Thomas, senior, kicking it out. Graves, great shooter. Not this time. Tipped out, good. Bounce pass, Van. And a foul. Look at Van. Looking up at the Mount St. Mary contingent.
Well, I'm going to tip my hat off to Coach Brown. He knows what it's like to play against superior odds, and had a great game against Kansas, Jim, that you pointed out. He has not thrown in the towel at all this game. He's taking right to North Carolina. Finds himself down probably now by 13. But still going right after him.
54-41. 2 minutes to play in the half.
No quit in this group.
You'll be saying that late in this game, too.
Now that zone is packing back in. Graves is going to have a jump shot.
And go. First time he's missed one of those shots. And still scores. Tyler Hansbrough's leading North Carolina with 17 points with a minute and a half to go.
Jim, you notice he never brings the ball back down, never puts it on the floor to bring it back down where the defense can bother him. And he's so strong in the hands that he's able to put those shots back up even in traffic.
That's over the back on Thompson.
Every time I see Thompson, he seems to be getting in better and better shape.
Second foul on Thompson. The North Carolina team that only lost twice this year, both at home, to Maryland and to Duke, undefeated on the road.
Well, they've got their 9th 30-win season. 4 times those 30-win teams have gone on to win the national championship in 57, 82, 93, and 05. But 6 times out of the 9, they've made it to the Final Four. So pretty good indicator.
Ellington, corner, 3, no. Beidler.
And here they come again. It's great to watch it.
Kaju with the 3. All Carolina underneath.
7 Carolina players have scored in this half. Danny Green has not been able to get off the mark.
Lawson got stuck.
Oh, what a shot.
Oh, man.
As I said, he's losing himself in this game very well. That ankle not showing any signs at all, giving him any trouble.
Band over the trees. Out to Green. 3-on-2. Ellington. They've got 60 on the board.
You know, Ellington's listed, Jim, at 6'4". I think he plays a lot bigger than that. He's got the long arms, plays closer to 6'6", and is really becoming a good finisher on the break. Here comes a trap by North Carolina.
Beidler puts up the 3. Ellington up ahead. Green launches. Hit the bottom of the net. 3 North Carolina players in double figures. The #1 overall seed of the tournament. Looking sharp tonight. Greg Gumbel coming up as we continue on the road to the Final Four.
CBS Sports exclusive coverage of the Men's Basketball Championship is sponsored by Chevy, the National Association of Realtors, Nike Spark Training, and by Miller Lite.
The Heels with a whopping 27-9 advantage on the boards, committing only 2 turnovers in the first half. Billy, take me through the shot chart. What do you see?
Well, we take a look at a couple of things here, Jim, and look at these shots. And I said, you know, if you're a 1-16, what you want to do is to slow the game down, try to play a pace game. Remember a couple of years ago, Delaware State against Duke? That's not what we saw. And here's Tyler Hansbrough, so tough down inside. Incredible job on his part, as usual. 7 for 10, 17 points, 3 rebounds.
First 5 on the floor for North Carolina.
Go inside, double down, doesn't come till too late.
Hansbrough gets the basket and an opportunity at the line. The ACC unanimous ACC Player of the Year. So many of these shots just identical tonight.
Jim, it's interesting. Hansbrough, David Thompson, and Josh Howard, unanimous Players of the Year in the ACC. In all the years, they're the only 3 that have been that. Pretty strong company, huh?
His brother right now, by the way, is in action in that Mississippi State-Oregon game. Playing for Mississippi State's got 2 points in that one in the first half. His team trailing by 10 at the half. Holland has his pass picked by Lawson. Ellington's going in.
And there that finish again of his.
And short. And Lawson pull up.
He hasn't done that for a month. Go full speed, pull up and stop and hit a jump shot.
I think all those questions about that ankle, those are done. It's over. He's fine. So is Carolina. Back here in the triangle, aerial coverage of our game brought to you by DirecTV. Tobacco Road, where North Carolina has opened up now a 25-point bulge over Mount St. Mary's, its largest lead of the night.
Hansbrough fighting out on the overplay. He's got some quick feet for a big man, doesn't he, Jim?
Amazing as so.
Yep.
Open up this game with a steal and a dunk. He chases Mitchell all the way out high. Number 10 on the shot clock. Good. Steps back. And and taken out by Thompson. First 6 points of the second half here in Raleigh to the Tar Heels, who led it 60-41 at halftime. Consider that for Mount St. Mary's in its conference championship game against Sacred Heart in the Northeast Conference Final, they held Sacred Heart to only 55 points. They gave up 60 to the North Carolina tonight in the first half.
They held them to 29% shooting, 2 for 19 from 3, so pretty good defensive work.
Hansbrough leading the way here for North Carolina. Got 19. Chases that down to midcourt. Turnaround Thompson, who has outscored his performance in 3 games in the ACC tournament.
I think it's important in North Carolina in regard to Thompson is to go to him often down low early in ball games. It gets him really into the game.
Mitchell.
Nice touch.
A two-foot too strong. There's Thompson clearing.
Well, Mitchell's made some nice passes tonight. That one should have been put away.
Thompson had 8 points in 3 games in the ACC tournament. It's a travel call. Thompson with 11 tonight.
Well, what Ellington thought he was going to do right there is reverse dribble, kick that ball on a bounce past Thompson, but lost his footing.
First North Carolina turnover in the last 13 minutes.
Pretty strong playing at this pace.
Good. Had the quick step, and Thompson reached in.
Well, one of the things that Lawson is getting a good test here. I realize there are a lot of fast players with the ball in the country, but I'm not so sure many of them are much faster than Jeremy Good. He really has a tremendous crossover, and he can explode to the basket.
They actually make that call on Lawson.
The young man last year almost had a triple-double, which would have been the first in school history. 19 points, 10 rebounds, 9 assists against Farley Dickinson. So he plays the full court for a man his size. 5'9".
Hits both free throws. Ellington got stuck and back out. Lawson.
It's a nice recovery by Van.
And Hansbrough.
Anytime you try to help out with this tremendous rebounding North Carolina has, the guy from the weak side almost always in a position to get an uncontested putback.
Holland. Back to the rim. Reach in. Ellington. Near the end of this game, we'll select a Chevrolet player of the game from each team. To honor their determination and outstanding play, Chevrolet will make a $1,000 contribution to each university's general scholarship fund. Chevy, an American Revolution. As the second on Ellington, as Sean Atupum, younger brother of Sam the Starter, comes in. Ginyard. Oh, short on the dunk.
Actually released a little early.
About the only thing that hasn't gone right for the Heels. Now Hansbrough running the floor. It gets picked from behind, recovers, sets up Stevenson.
Again, Hansbrough in traffic with those strong hands, double team, still able to make the pass. You think Ginyard won't be ripped by his teammates on that bus, Jim?
I think he's going to have a chance tonight to make up for that one, be my guess. Holland with a 3.
Holland, a nice, pure shooter.
He got 3 early fouls in this game, got taken out of it.
He had 6 for 9 threes against Oregon, 22 points.
Lawson hacked on the way up by Mitchell. That basket by Holland broke a 5-minute, 50-second field goal drought. Went back to the into the first half for the Mountaineers.
Holland had 11 big points in that win over Robert Morris. It was the #1 seed team in their conference tournament. You have to call that a pretty solid upset.
Beidler coming in for the Mountaineers along with Kaju. Holland out, Good out.
You saw Green already started ripping Ginyard as he went out. Got a good chuckle on him. They will be ripping him. Oh, there he is again.
Inside, left alone, Stevenson.
And the reason for that was a smart play by Stevenson. He knew there was a double up coming on Hansbrough, so he took off to the basket, backdoor cut.
And Van. This kid's played hard.
He really has. All of them have. I really take my hats off to him. This game is at a pace. They have no chance of winning, but they are backed off a bit.
Boy, Lawson can recover the basket so fast. Right back comes the Mount. Atupum. That's Sean Atupum, freshman from Newport News, Virginia.
Had some good games in their postseason conference tournament. Really picked it up. 12 points and 10 points. 10 points in that win over Coppin State the other night. Still playing that zone. It hasn't made much difference. There's the double on Hansbrough.
Still fighting for it.
Thought he walked on that one. He wants a foul.
Meidler. He's got a good-looking game.
He sure does. We talked about the 45 points he had in the 3 conference tournament games. If anything, North Carolina's slowing it down a little bit against this 2-3 zone.
Danny Green quiet offensively tonight. Meidler's the kid who looks like he's got ACC talent.
Yeah, I would agree with that. He's got the right size for the position he plays. Good-looking shot.
Up ahead, Lawson. Now at 80. 80-52.
Well, if you're a North Carolina fan, the best thing about this game is the way that Lawson is running.
Meidler. Short on the shot this time.
Well, although Green did not get him on the elbow, Jim, just the fact that Meidler thought it might happen pulled up on that jump shot.
Well, they're going over 100 tonight, and they've got to be over the moon about the way the Tar Heels are opening up their 2008 tournament. Arkansas Razorbacks, North Carolina Tar Heels next on the floor here in Raleigh. East Region second round action with the winner advancing to the regional Thursday in a matchup against Washington State. Welcome back, friends. Jim Nance, Billy Packer here courtside. We've already been electrified by the Davidson comeback win. Stephen Curry starring again. More fireworks on the way, perhaps. Arkansas, North Carolina. Let's first talk about the Razorbacks, Billy. And Sonny Weems, who hit his last 12 shots in the win over Indiana Friday night.
He was outstanding. 12 for 14 in that game, 31 points. All SEC performer Darian Towns, who has been averaging 17 points a game in the postseason, had 17 against Indiana. Outstanding inside performer, and he'll have his hands full with Tyler Hansbrough, as everybody knows, the nation's outstanding player. Ty Lawson, who looked back at full speed the other day, and this is something that has to be pleasing to Roy Williams and the Tar Heel fans.
Here are the lineup for Arkansas, laden with seniors. 4 seniors in the starting lineup. The sophomore Beverly at 6'1" is their leading rebounder. He does it all. North Carolina, no seniors in that starting lineup. Ginyard and Hansbrough juniors for the #1 seed in the East. #1 seed for the record 12th time since the seeding process began in the tournament. Our game is brought to you in HD TV by HP. A raucous crowd, over 17,000 on hand here at the home arena for the North Carolina State Wolfpack. But it's Carolina blue dominating the color palette today here in Raleigh.
Thompson stole that tap. Today you're going to be blessed with a Ginyard-Weems matchup on the other end of the floor. It's going to be fun to watch.
Hansbrough wanting to challenge Hunter right away. Doubled up now and has his shot blocked.
Well, Hunter not the #1 shot blocker for this Arkansas team. That's going to be Stephen Hill when he comes in here. But no problem whatsoever getting a piece of Hansbrough's little jump shot.
That little shot really, in so many ways, is the defining shot for Hansbrough. Usually it goes unimpeded, but the first one blocked it. Like you said, we were talking about it earlier about how Stephen Hill will handle that.
That's right. There's a lot of length in regard to Hunter and Hill when they come in, when Hill comes in here.
Hill, a shot blocking specialist. There's a 3 on the way by Beverly. No.
Good block out by Ginyard on Weems. Weems should have been a little bit more aggressive going to the offensive glass. He might have got one there from the weak side.
It's Lawson working off a pick. Thought about going back to Thompson. Here's Hansbrough again. They go back out high for the 33 and 2 Tar Heels. Lawson launching three-pointer, yes.
The difference in this ball club right now is a healthy Lawson. He wasn't even looking for that jump shot when he came back off of that 6-game injury period.
Arkansas, the 9 seed in the East bracket with that win over the Hoosiers, 86-72 Friday night. And that's Weems losing control and 2 empty trips for Arkansas.
Weems very seldom will be matched up against a guy as strong as Ginyard, looking him right in the face. Ginyard, a terrific defender.
Ellington takes the jumper. Yes, and it's 5-0 Carolina.
Towns has got to go out and respect that jumper.
Arkansas with its first NCAA tournament win Friday night since 1999. They had lost 5 in a row in the tournament before the victory over the Hoosiers. Here's Towns, and he's fouled.
Who's going to be that call on? Is it going to be on Ginyard or Hansbrough?
Ginyard whistled for that. And John Pelfrey in his first season on the Arkansas bench has certainly plenty of NCAA tournament history as a player, as an assistant, now as a head coach. One of the unforgettables at Kentucky.
Yeah, pretty good pedigree in regard to playing for Eddie Sutton and Rick Pitino. Coaching with Billy Donovan. Had a terrific 5-year run at South Alabama.
Took his team to the NCAA tournament 2 years back and met up with his old Gator bunch. Getting knocked out first round. And that's going back to Arkansas. They say his last touch by Carolina.
Nice job by Hunter keeping that ball alive. Hunter listed 6'10", more like a 7-footer, Jim, with those long arms, so a real problem.
Towns taking it to the paint, kicking it out. Weems. Well, he finally misses one. Made his last 12 against Indiana.
Giving a little bit too much respect for Ginyard.
That's Lawson again, and it's 7-zip. Now Irvin weaving and a reach-in coming up here on Lawson. Actually, it's a good one against Thompson. And Roy Williams, 19th consecutive year in the NCAA tournament. First, of course, Kansas. And all those successful years with the Jayhawks on over to Chapel Hill the last 5 years. That's going back to North Carolina.
Well, what happened? The ball was tapped. Weems was still standing out of bounds, so he's the first thing to touch the ball out of bounds. Ball to the North Carolina Tar Heels. Little pickup here, full court pressure. Lawson, a tough guy when he's healthy to press full court because he has that blazing speed, and all of a sudden he'll set up a 5-on-4.
Turnaround Hansbrough. 9-0 North Carolina. Timeout Arkansas. A horrible start for the Hawks. It's been a clear and cool Easter weekend here in the Research Triangle area of North Carolina, and our aerial coverage brought to you by DirecTV. It's quite a complex here, this arena and the football stadium alongside for Lee Fowler and that athletic program there with the Wolfpack. And this is East Region action. Louisville and Oklahoma are playing right now. Tennessee won in overtime today. Washington State won yesterday. They're already set for the regional at Charlotte.
Charles Thomas in the ballgame now. He is a guy that is capable of exploding. He's had a couple of outstanding games in the tournament. The big one, of course, against Vanderbilt. 24 points, 10 rebounds. He's got to get him started. Posting up against Thompson inside and really using his body.
Beverly bouncing it over to Thomas, and he comes off the bench and delivers indeed, Billy.
Nice move by John Pelfrey, getting some offense into the ball game, not getting that out of Hunter at all.
Oh, if Welsh had turned around. Welsh playing on a tender ankle. He was doubtful. He rolled it on Friday night. Didn't practice yesterday. Ellington, two-point shot.
Well, we saw what Curry is in a pure shooter. About the only guy I've seen in the country with any smoother shot is Ellington.
And you think it's smoother or as smooth?
As smooth.
Okay. Towns dumps it down.
Just a pure, soft touch.
How about Curry with 25 in the second half, leading his team from 17 down in the early stages of the second half.
He's having a terrible NCAA career. Gets 30 points last year, 40 the other day, 30 today. So his low as a college player in the NCAA tournament is 30.
Twice.
25 against Georgetown in the second half. Just an incredible performance.
They're heading to Detroit, Midwest region. Davidson College. Ginyard loses it, but right there's Hansbrough. Squeezes it through and will head to the line. He is on his way perhaps to breaking the ACC most free throws ever made record. And Christian Laettner just needs one. Check out the nominees for the Pontiac game-changing performance of the tournament at Pontiac.com/NCAA, where you can also enter for your chance to win a Pontiac G8 and a trip for 8 to this year's Final Four. And there you go. That just became the 714th made free throw for the junior. Now has the most attempts, the most makes from the line in ACC history. That's saying a lot.
Well, one record he'd like to have that Christian Laettner holds is the winningest player in NCAA tournament history. That may be one he doesn't catch. Shot more free throws this year than anybody in college basketball.
Stevenson in, they double up, and they create the turnover. Towns dropped it out of bounds.
They didn't recognize that double team coming. Should have got that ball out.
Hot start for the Hills. They've hit 5 out of 6, including Ellington from the outside. Up 9. Tournament summary. The ACC, its last hope, is on the floor here. The Tar Heels. The other 3 have been knocked out.
And Jim, when you look at the power conferences, Big Ten may be the most surprising of all there with Wisconsin. Michigan State doing a terrific job. They lost Purdue. They lost Indiana right here on this particular floor, but they've got 2 that are in the Sweet 16.
Proof yet again that Tom Izzo, not always the first name or one of the first names mentioned when you talk about great coaches. He knows how to do it in the tournament, doesn't he? As it comes out to Hansbrough and knocked out by Thomas.
Nice job by Thomas. So there's a good no-look pass by Green.
Stephen Hill on the floor, shot blocking specialist, senior for Arkansas, 51.
Little zone defense now by Arkansas. Look for Ellington on a wing.
This is Hill on Hansbrough. And that's Lawson. Hot today. He's hit 3 from the outside.
Jim, this reminds me of the game at Arizona last year where he just took the ball game over and created for Lute Olson just a nightmare of a game, a worst loss that Lute Olson had ever had on his own floor.
He's got 8 points, and he's got a rebound.
Now watch him tear off. Creates a semi-break.
Danny Green.
Long rebounds.
Right back to Green on the floor. Able to get it out to Lawson. Avoids the backcourt violation. Will Lawson deliver it at the end? No.
Arkansas getting a little life by moving the ball up the court quicker and getting out of that half-court set.
Thomas calling for it. Back out Beverly. This young man can shoot it, but not this time. That's Welsh.
With Weems out of the ball game right now, Arkansas just got to settle down, get something easier.
Hansbrough just inside the arc.
He likes that shot.
Follows it. Hill blocks it. And one. Hill tried to get a hand on it, but the power of Hansbrough able to get it up and over the rim. And one.
Jim, we talked about this the other day. Hill, one of only 4 men in the SEC history who have blocked more than 300 shots, even in perfect position there because of Hansbrough's strength on those follow-ups, not able to stop the play. It's amazing how he gets those off.
There's his record, most makes. Said a moment ago. Ty Lawson's been the key here for North Carolina, racing to an 18-4 lead. He has 8 of their 18, and they're on a 7-0 run.
Means back in this ball game, needs to get started.
Beverly left alone.
Nice little floater.
Sophomore delivers. Quentin Thomas bringing it up for North Carolina. Reach in on Beverly.
At this point in the game, if you're Beverly, you just want to play solid. Don't go reach in for the steal. Down 12. Got to play solid on both ends.
Hansbrough will get a breather. And Deion Thompson back on the floor.
Roy Williams used his bench very liberally. A lot of different combinations in the game. There's Arkansas back in their zone.
Hansbrough to the bench with 6 points, 4 rebounds. His brother in action right now for Mississippi State against Memphis.
Mary Green, who did not have the big game. There's Thompson. He loves to use that glass. Beautiful dish by Green.
Up ahead.
Push.
Against Carolina.
Stevenson pushed him in the back. If he'd let him alone, I don't think Towns could have got to the ball anyway. Roy Williams didn't see it, but the official did a good call.
North Carolina put up 113 points in a win over Mount St. Mary's here Friday night.
That was their 7th 100-point game of the year, Jim.
Thomas doubled up. Here's Weems on the floor again with the 3. Yes, they need him. He had 31 Friday night, a career high.
Stevenson should have gone out there and stopped that 3-point shot, made him drive the ball to the basket with the size inside.
First points of the game for Weems.
2-3 zone, slowing North Carolina down a little bit.
Back to Ellington and fouled by Thomas. Well, the West is all set for the regional in Phoenix. UCLA, Western Kentucky, Xavier, West Virginia. I wonder how many people had it shaping up like that in the brackets.
I don't think so, Jim. But, you know, when the brackets came out on Selection Sunday, I thought that UCLA had the best shot of walking their way to the Final Four. It wasn't easy for them, but I still feel that they have maybe the easiest road of the bunch.
Boy, if Texas A&M could have just gotten a little bit out of the inside down the stretch from the likes of DeAndre Jordan, they might have been pulling off the biggest upset of the first week.
Absolutely. And how about a couple of those shots by Love?
Unbelievable. Block shots, too.
Yeah, that fadeaway jumper that he made was just something special.
It was a thrilling game. You watched it. It was Westbrook dunk at the end that made the final margin 4. And today, that has been taken away. Some, 18 hours later, it becomes a 2-point final.
It was a pretty impressive dunk, though.
You don't hear about that being changed, though, down the line. UCLA on to Phoenix.
Boy, they had Towns open for a lob. Boy, he's being doubled down.
Able to get it out, Beverly. That pass get here, but over the foot. Quentin Thomas.
That was a beautiful reach-in steal by Thomas. A little different when you got a big lead at 21-9. Take a chance on a steal like that, unlike what Beverly tried before.
Quentin Thomas, the lone holdover from that championship team of 05, and banking it in. That's Washington for Arkansas off the bench.
Arkansas's got a lot of size they can maneuver off of that bench. Hansbrough getting a pretty long rest for him in the first half here.
Now Graves,
shooter.
Beautiful stroke he has, and he hits the 3.
Starting to get more and more playing time. It's amazing the weapons Roy Williams can bring off that bench.
Roy really kept them on the floor for a long time Friday night. Did a little confidence boost for the freshman from Greensboro.
Comes the double down again.
Michael Washington fighting for it. Last touch by North Carolina. Carolina shooting 67%, the winningest player in the history of the program. Quentin Thomas, 120 wins he's been involved in. Dumps it down, right 15. 8.5 minutes into this game, Tar Heels have not turned it over.
Look at that, Jim. No turnovers for North Carolina, 4 for Arkansas. 9 points off of turnovers, including that last one by Thomas.
Well, talk about want to look at something. Standing ovation just a moment ago for the Davidson Wildcats, who come up to greet their family and fans in the stands. talk of the tournament. They come back from 11 down to knock out Gonzaga. 17 down to Sonia Curry. She was trying all through that win on Friday, and I trust she was again today against Georgetown. Her son coming up huge with a 25-point second half. They're on to the Sweet 16. Here's Weems, short.
Whoa, not often do you see that ball ripped out of Hansborough's hands.
And they call it a tie-up. The arrow belongs to Arkansas.
Different kind of lineups out there. It's interesting how Roy Williams using different lineups. A lot of confidence. About 10 deep with this ball club. Graves, who did a good job. Thomas as well. Go out. Just reload with Ellington and Lawson.
Kick it in. Towns kicks it out. And that's Weems. Out to Lawson. Always looking to run. Dish, Stevenson, yes.
Awful lot of weapons here, Jim.
No question.
Awful lot of weapons.
They've made their last 5 shots. They're up 17.
They have now 9 30-win seasons at North Carolina, and their 4 national championship teams all had 30 wins. Here they go again.
Washington denied on the drive. Ellington up, yes, and a foul.
Ellington is a tremendous finisher. He has really built up his body. When he came to North Carolina, was very slim. You can see how he's worked on the weights, and now he doesn't mind taking it to the hole, even in traffic. Nice block.
Tried the challenge. And it was on Beverly, now saddled with 2 fouls. So Ellington to shoot one more. With a 20-point lead. Got it.
He had the big game against Clemson this year with 36 points, including the game winner with 0.4 of a second to go. A great pure shooter, and he's now starting to vary his game, being able to drive to the basket.
Irvin on the drive. Second chance. No. Thompson plucks it away.
What a difference.
North Carolina, 31-11 over Arkansas. Meanwhile,
Carolina numbers indicative of the blowout we have. 92-59. Roy Williams on the floor Thursday at practice said these logos, players are slipping on them. Somebody's going to get hurt. This is what we saw Friday night. Roy was out Friday saying, you know, let's sand these things down a little bit. Just a moment ago, Hansbrough. And during the commercial break, that's Roy actually looking our way and saying, in our direction, say something about it, which we have been throughout the course of the weekend. We usually take our direction from Bob Davis and Bob Fishman. Now we got Coach Williams.
I'm sure that committee is going to take a look at that, Jim, because the last thing they want is for any player to really get injured out here in the court. But without question, that decal, for whatever reason, on both ends of the floor has been extremely slippery. We've seen guys go down time and time again. Unfortunately, no one has gotten injured, but there have been some plays that have changed. On that one, as an example, Hansbrough probably to pick that off. Here's Arkansas back in his zone. It hasn't made much difference.
Thompson.
As I said, it hasn't made much difference.
Stevenson. I tell you, Stevenson and Thompson from each side using the glass in this game.
Well, that was a half hook. Thompson likes the turnaround jumper. Washington in trouble out here. Hansbrough is so quick guarding the man away from the basket.
Britt. And rattles in the 3. Lawson. And again, like Friday night, there's no question they're going over the century mark. The question is how far. Will they top the 113 they had against the Mount on St. Mary's on Friday night?
As we said, 7 games over 100 so far. Tied what they did in 05. Good hustle by Hansbrough.
Look at the hustle when you're still up by this much, by 32, and it's Hansbrough chasing after it like all of the Tar Heel players are.
Jim, I've seen him do that in practice at North Carolina when it meant nothing. And a ball's going loose. I've seen him knock over waste paper baskets. The guy just loves to play. There he goes. Oh, what was wrong with that play? Roy Williams upset. It's the same same official that called that last one. That was a pretty good block.
What did you say? Had 14 blocks on the season? This should have been 15.
You cannot block a ball any better than that. And of course, the fans are coming back into it because they're showing the play on the scoreboard. Towns just happy to get anything. All Southeast Conference tournament player here and solid basketball player.
To think this is an Arkansas team that last weekend in the SEC tournament defeated Tennessee, which really cost Tennessee a #1 seed in the tournament. But Tennessee is going to be lined up behind North Carolina down in Charlotte. We'll start doing a little comparison study for potential regional finals in the East next weekend. Again, this Arkansas team beat Tennessee 8 days ago. Carolina might see them next Saturday if they both win on Thursday night.
There's Green again, showing that versatility. Stepping out from about 26, 27 feet. That was over the zone. Towns showing the ability to put the ball on the floor when he was double teamed.
Carolina shooting 75% for the half, 68% for the game, and Washington showing some talent right there.
Took that one over Stevenson.
Sophomore from McGehee, Arkansas.
Here we see the zone. North Carolina passing nicely over the top of it. Green almost ready to unload another one of those long jumpers.
Stevenson, soft look again, and it rattles in. They're over 100.
Boy, he and Thompson have put on quite a show as the interior players aside from Hansbrough. You know what the All-American's going to do, but these two guys have been awesome today.
Yeah, when you can flank them with these two performances. I realize Stevenson doesn't start. There's Washington feeling confident after that last driving dunk, missing on the three.
Stevenson went home to attend to his father, who was ill earlier this year. The young man is playing outstanding basketball.
He's from Los Angeles. Just a sophomore.
Surrounding this zone. Nice ball fake.
Lawson, yes. Again, another soft roll. And that's going to be it for the starters. We've seen the last of them until the Sweet 16.
Well, they gave their faithful who are here, about 90% of this audience wearing light blue, they gave them a little sign of what it's going to look like in Charlotte.
Playing like the #1 overall seed in the tournament, which they exactly are. Tonight on CBS, here is the lineup. It all begins with 60 Minutes all new. Now that David Beckham has brought his game to the U.S., what makes it so special? Big Brother, new episode, Cold Case, and an all-new Dexter tonight on America's most watched network. So Quentin Thomas on the floor. Thompson remains out there. Graves and Green and Mike Copeland, the North Carolina 5. It's an Arkansas team now that has given up the most points ever in an NCAA tournament game for the program. This is the 69th NCAA tournament game in their school history, a proud history with 6 Final Fours. This is the most they've ever allowed. They've given up 101 to Loyola Marymount back in '89.
Well, Jim, they've got a lot of seniors on this ball club. This is a tough way to go out.
And that is knocked off the leg of Graves.
About the only thing that Beverly could do right there. Graves will keep an eye on him this next time.
Short.
Jim, what Weems has done with his jump shot all day long is come down on 1 foot, taking away all the balance that you have on your jumper. He made that first one he made in the first half is when he went up and came down. Nice square.
Double up on Thompson. Tough pass, and that's going away. Don't know where this one's going, but Campbell defending, and Beverly hits the layup.
Tough to defend if you're Campbell against a young man that's the leading rebounder for Arkansas at 6'1".
Danny Green. Out to Irvin. Weems will sky. A double pump on the way up.
I'm sure that Roy Williams didn't like that jump shot that Danny Green took. It's kind of mop-up duty right now, but he'd like them to stay within their offense.
We've had 3 100-point games so far in this 2008 tournament. This is the 49th game if you count the opening round game. And 2 of those 300-point efforts have come from Carolina. Western Kentucky had that thrilling win on Thursday, and it's Copeland adding to the scoring column for North Carolina. And now the Tar Heels twice, 2 of the 3.
And you see Roy Williams wanting a foul so he can get everybody else into the ball game, give him some playing time.
He can bring in Surrey, Wood, Jack Wooten, who had 5 points the other night off the bench.
Jim, for a guy that's now...
First today's Chevrolet players of the game, Sonny Weems from Arkansas, and Deion Thompson. Got to give him a nod there for that perfect performance from the floor from North Carolina.
And a big lift for a guy who was in a little bit of a slump in the ACC tournament. But Jim, I was going to say, the guy over on the bench right now probably is the biggest thing that happened this weekend for North Carolina. Lawson played 42 minutes in these 2 games, 11 assists, 0 turnovers,
yep, not a one.
And explosive speed.
Patrick Moody also out there along with J.B. Tanner for the Tar Heels as Britt returns for Arkansas.
And how important that is that you had Thomas as the only point guard with Bobby Frazier out for the season. If Lawson doesn't come back, they were really in trouble there against quality teams that could put some pressure on them.
And Tanner.
I thought he was going to take that jumper.
Yeah, he was about ready to put it up. So was Campbell. Skip pass. That's Wooten. Back to Campbell. Looking at down 12 on the shot clock. This 5 got 4.5 minutes of action on Friday night. They played well. Moody.
Over Hill, so he can say he got a shot off over the top shot blocker in the SEC, or one of.
All right, Billy, let's go through some of the brackets here. Get your thoughts as we look at the Sweet 16. There are 3 from the Pac-10, including Washington State. Louisville against Tennessee coming up Thursday. That should be something else.
Well, one thing you have there is a 1, 2, 3, 4 in that particular bracket. All made it. And in the last 10 years, Jim, nobody lower than a 4 has won a national championship. But when you look at some of the other brackets, there are certainly people other than 4s.
North Carolina has never trailed the entire weekend here in Raleigh. They kept the lead in double digits for 61 of the 80 minutes played. They shot over 60%. They led 9-0 this afternoon and never looked back.
I don't know if the fans realize they're putting a lot of pressure on these guys to shoot the ball before they're ready. It's probably the most they've gotten involved in the game so far today because the Tar Heels played so perfectly.
Stephen Cox got the steal for the Razorbacks. Here's Hunter, senior. And Cox at the other end. Got a steal, now a basket. Pat Satsia also on the floor for Arkansas.
And Arkansas is not going to foul here.
Campbell, he was the only one not to score on Friday night of those who played. They had 15 players play. Campbell was the only one not to get in the scoring column, and he got it today.
So every guy on that squad scored in the NCAA tournament game.
Sophomore from right here in Raleigh. He'll be replaying that 3-point shot in his mind the rest of his life. A North Carolina romp to the next round. Roy Williams, a consoling word with John Pelfrey as the Tar Heels show why they're number 1. Heading to the Sweet 16. Billy Pack and all the crew, Jim Nance saying we'll continue on the road to the Final Four. Back to Greg Gumbel in New York in a moment.